everyone had a good New Year's. You know, the New Year seems to come with its own host of traditions. On New Year's Eve, there are some folks that feel that they need to go to a party to ring in the new year. And others like me are content to sit at home and watch the ball drop on the TV. Others wait for that important midnight kiss. Fun fact. Did you know that smooching your longtime sweetie or a new friend standing next to you at midnight has roots dating back to the ancient European times? It was a way to ward off evil spirits and to bring blessings for the new year. Now, New Year's Day has its own traditions as well. There's always watching football or maybe watching the Tournament of Roses parade. One tradition that our family likes to do is just kind of chillax, hang out at home, and not do very much. I remember one year that Nicole and I binged watched the A&E series Breaking Bad. My wife, Tina, did not take to that too kindly. Over the past few years, we seem to have gone out to the movies quite often. This year was a little different. It was just Tina and I. Our son John was working, and Nicole was battling that cold flu stuff that is going around. So Tina and I went out and saw the new Star Wars movie. If you're a Star Wars person, it's a great movie. But New Year's also has those traditions of all of the foods that we think must be eaten on New Year's Day. We all have those traditional foods that we think that we need to eat in order to usher in good luck for the upcoming year. What we eat to usher in good luck around the world changes. I read this week that in Germany, Poland, and Scandinavia, it's herring that is eaten to usher in good luck for a prosperous year, since herring have that shiny color. And in Turkey, it's pomegranates. Go figure. They think that is the food that brings in good luck. In the Philippines, it's any round fruit. But in China, Japan, and Asian countries, they take a little different spin. It's customary to eat long noodles, because the long noodles represent the longevity of life. And here in the States, it's a regional thing. In the deep South, you've got Hoppin' John and cornbread and collard greens. Now, I was raised on the proper meal for New Year's Day, that it had to include stewed tomatoes and black-eyed peas. A head nod in the back. Yeah, there we go. We got a name of that, don't we? There we go. My wife, on the other hand, thinks it should be pork roast and sauerkraut because she came from that upper northern region of Pittsburgh. Who knows what meal is right? But how can we leave out desserts? One tradition that is practiced by various cultures is having a cake with something baked into it, be it a coin or a little trinket. And the lucky person who gets that piece is supposed to have good luck throughout the coming year. And as I brought up with the kids, how can we have New Year's without resolutions? Have you made any resolutions for the year 2020? Are you still keeping them? The first people to make New Year's resolutions was believed to have been the Babylonians some 4,000 years ago. They were made as promises to their gods in hopes of having a good year. The Romans followed suit by offering sacrifices and making promises of good conduct to their deity, Janus. For Christians, this first day of the new year became a time to reflect on past mistakes and to resolve to do better. Today, the religious aspect of resolutions have almost all but disappeared, and mostly focus on self-improvement in general. For giggles, I Googled what the top 10 resolutions were for 2020. And here's the top 10 list, kind of like David Letterman would do it. At number 10, we have drink less. And number 9, we have volunteer more. And number 8, be less stressed. And number 7, travel to new places. Number 6, spend more time with family. Number 5, get out of debt and save more. Number 4, eat healthier. Number 3, learn something new. Number 2, quit smoking. And I'm sure by now you can guess what is going to be on the top, the number 1, lose weight and get fit. Looking over that list, it got me thinking, do our resolutions change over the years? So I went back to that great informational void on the internet called Google, and the only thing that I could find in top 10 lists, the oldest one I could find, was from 2010. But listen to this list and notice the similarities. Quit drinking, get organized, save money, help others, get fit, learn something new, get closer to God. Stop smoking, enjoy life more, lose weight. It's almost the same list. And I find it ironic and funny and maybe a little comforting that these lists are very similar. It shows us that people really don't change much. But I think there's more here. Our resolutions show us the type of person that we want to be. We want to be healthier. We want to be wiser. We want to be a better person. But there's also a flip side to this, that we currently are. It shows what we think are our faults, that we're overweight, that we don't eat right, that we have bad habits, that we're in debt, that we aren't living up to our potential. We think that if we make these changes and if we keep all of our resolutions, that we will live a good life, that we will have everything we need to be happy. And we may be right. But I'm willing to suggest that all of our resolutions are things that we use to try to improve the way we are as a human being. It's who we are at our core. That these resolutions and desires are trying to change our heart, mind, soul, and strength. Think about that for a moment. If we could take all of our resolutions and put them into one of those 4 categories, they might fall something like this. Under changes of the heart, there would be spending time with family and helping others. Under mind, there might be learning something new or traveling to a new place. Changes in soul would be less stress, losing weight, stopping drinking, and eating healthier. And under strength, it would be getting fit and getting out of debt. Can you see how our resolutions sometimes fall into these 4 categories? But even with our best attempts at keeping these resolutions, we are going to fail at some of them, and we'll be making them again and again. We're setting ourselves up to fail because there will always be things pulling at us that cause us to slip back into our old bad habits. For example, if you made the resolution to go to church every Sunday, you're off to a great start because this is the first Sunday of the new year, right? But somewhere down the line, maybe in a couple of weeks, maybe in a month, you're going to get that call from that old friend that says, hey, let's go skiing or let's go hiking this Sunday. I haven't seen you in a while. We need to catch up. And you go. And then there may be that time when you're too sick to come to church. You know you need to stay home and rest so that you don't come and infect the rest of us. And then you might get that call that says, you need to go check on old Aunt Brenda. So you go. All of a sudden, you have slipped back into not attending church every Sunday, and you just give up. It's no wonder we make the same resolutions year after year. We make new ones each year because we need help to be successful. but it's not hopeless. Change can happen, but it takes time and persistence. When you fail, and you will, take time to stop and to recommit yourself to that resolution. For me, it's not so much about making resolutions. It's about making myself better. It's about making changes. I try to take time about once every 3 months and check in with myself and do a little bit of self-care and how I am doing. I look internally to see how I am doing. I usually do this alone, and it's a very private thing. Sometimes the dog is with me, and he's my companion. I usually start off the day with some meditation and prayer. And then I might go for a long hike or a long drive. And then I come back with some notes. And then I wrap it up by spending more time in prayer. During the day, I evaluate where I am in all aspects of my life and determine what is working, what isn't working, what needs to change, and where I need help from God. Our help does come from God, and this is why God sent Jesus to walk among us, because God knew that we needed help, that we couldn't live the life that God wants us to live without Jesus by our side. By Jesus coming to live among us, Jesus was creating a new covenant between God and us. And when you break it down, a covenant is just an agreement between two people. When we think of covenants, the one that first frequently comes to mind is the marriage covenant, when two people come together and agree to love and cherish each other through sickness and in health, through richer and poorer, forsaking all others until death parts them. Each partner says yes, but here's the key. It takes two to keep a covenant. A covenant is largely dependent on the other person. You can be as loving and supportive and as caring as you can be, but if your partner isn't, the covenant is broken and there's not much you can do about it. But imagine if one spouse loves you so much that you are inspired to uphold your covenant to the fullest. Wouldn't that be great? We all have a covenant like that, and we made it when we were baptized. We entered into a covenant with God. We became a child of God, a God that loves us perfectly and will hold up his part of the covenant for eternity. We should be inspired to want to uphold our end of that covenant. My question to you is, how are you doing with holding up your part of the covenant you made with God? Friends, the new year is a great time to step back and to take a look at where we are on our faith journey. To look at those places that are good to go and that are working fine. And to identify and make changes in those places that need work. John Wesley, the founder of Methodism, used to urge his congregations to be better Christians through a liturgy that has become known as the Wesley Covenant Service. In 1784, it was included in the Book of Worship to be used for us American followers. We use this covenant at the beginning of the new year as a way to renew our commitment to follow God's will for our lives. In your bulletin, you will find the covenant prayer on the back of the prayer sheet. I ask that you pull that out now as we join ourselves in a little mini version of Wesley's covenant service. Friends, commit yourselves to Christ as his servants. Give yourselves to him that you may belong to him. Christ has many services to be done. Some are more easy and honorable. Others are more difficult and disgraceful. Some are suitable for our inclinations and our interest. Others are contrary to both. In some, we may please Christ and please ourselves. But there are other works where we cannot please Christ except by denying ourselves. It is necessary, therefore, that we consider what it means to be a servant of Christ. Will you please join me in the covenant prayer? I am no longer my own, but thine. Put me to what thou wilt. Rank me with whom thou wilt. Put me to doing, put me to suffering. Let me be employed for thee, or laid aside for thee. Exalt for thee, or brought low for thee. Let me be full, let me be empty. Let me have all things, let me have nothing. I freely and heartily yield all things to thy pleasure and disposal. And now, O glorious and blessed God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, thou art mine, and I am thine. So be it. And the covenant which I have made on earth, let it be ratified in heaven. Amen. Amen.